Okay, for this project, we have different pieces of tubing to cut. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. If we look at the piece coming out the back, I'm just going to round off some numbers here and I call that one 200. And our height on that one is 140 and 140 for a grand total of 480 millimeters. Our other pipe that we have coming out here as well is going to be 83 and 83 plus 203. So I'm going to round 83 for 166 plus my original approximate 200. So if I go 366, if I call that piece 1 and that there is piece number 2, I now have cut lengths that I can go to the bench and start doing random size cuts with this one here. Our third pipe, I'm going to call this one right here. If you look at that from a plan view, it goes onto a 90 and it comes down and comes over to the side like this. We're given this measurement here of 73 millimeters and we're given this distance here of 130. So if I look at it like an imaginary triangle at 130 millimeters, if that's a 45, I can draw in another triangle here. So this one here would also be 130. So now you could go a squared plus b squared equals c squared, or simply go 130 times 1.414, which will give us, who has a calculator handy please? 183.82. We're just going to call that one 184. Piece number 4. Okay, we just did this one over here. We're going to look at this one now, which comes there and drops down. We're given a couple of numbers here. If we look at our beginning fitting, we see that we have 70 millimeters from there to there. So if I draw that line up, I have an imaginary triangle. If that's 70, that there has to be 70. Again, Pythagoras, or times 1.414. We're going to find that this piece comes out very close to 98 or 99 millimeters. You want to check that, please? Okay, we're going to round it off and call it 100 for that leg of the bend here. Now, the other one we need to consider is this one right here. So we knew that this one here earlier was 130. So there to there is 130. If I have 70 up there, equals 60. So this piece from here to here is 60 millimeters. If you look at the original 100 we have on that leg and our last piece there, we have 160 millimeters for pipe number 4. Our last pipe we have on there is pipe number 5, which goes up, over, and down. The height on this one here is 102, and we're 70 across, so we round those off. We're just going to call that 275. For this project, you are given 1700 millimeters. I would suggest making these 5 cuts right here. On your first one, I'm going to actually cut it right now, a piece at 480. Again, try and get these as flat as you can. So right now I put a center mark on these here. We know that our spread on these ones here is 203 millimeters. So if I'm going to mark 101 1.5 millimeters on either side, and then I'm going to bend them. I'll mark these so you guys can see them a little bit better. Okay, so my first measurement here, I need to bend this one leg down. So my measurement is actually measuring to the inside by 101.5 millimeters. Zero goes to zero, L goes to my mark. My measurement is actually measuring over to my left. Now I can keep the measurement on this side here, but my actual measurement now is measuring to the right. So my zero is still going to be zero. Here's where you want to have a look at it, right? Make sure that this here is kicked down like that so they're square. So on this tubing here, I can now actually take it and go to my fittings. Now, because these were just a random bend when I first started, right? I'm using approximate numbers. Right now, I'm actually going to take my proper measurement and get this. So if this distance from here to here is supposed to be 83, right now I am 125. I'm going to call that one there. And we're actually only supposed to be 83. So this one here essentially is 42 millimeters too long. So there we are, 83 millimeters center to center. So after you've done your first piece and you've bent it, if you measured out the 203 on both of them, your marks are in the exact same place. So if the first one works, then carry on and go to the second piece. When we're doing our flare pieces out the top, if you were to actually bend this one here, looking at this for the top for 138 millimeters, right now I haven't allowed for anything keep in mind mind, I still haven't allowed for my flare on here, have I? So if you're looking at the distance that I'm going to lose on here, if you exaggerate it from my flare, at one point when we had our loonie in here, that extra height of the loonie is basically what we're going to be subtracting here. So we're going to end up being about an extra millimeter off. So right now, if I am at 190 and I'm trying to get that down to 138, 52 millimeters, less the thickness of my loonie. So you're going to be within a millimeter if you didn't even allow for your loonie. Okay, so a couple things you notice about this project here. This run right here coming up through there, through this 90, if you do an imaginary line straight through it, lines up with the center of this one. This bend here also lines up with these two here. The fittings that we're using for this project, 1/4 inch black mal T, 3/8 compression by 1/4 inch MIP adapter, 3/8 flare by 1/4 inch MIP adapter, and this one here we've got a 3/8 flare by 1/4 inch MIP 90-degree adapter, 3/8 flared 90, and the one that usually trips most people up is 3/8 compression by 1/4 inch MIP by 3/8 compression T. You also notice we have different flare nuts on this project here. We have the forged ones, which are the heavier ones, and the machined ones. The machined ones are never to be used on gas fitting. There are long ones and short ones, but it's the heavy forged ones are the ones that we want for gas.